Hi, welcome to the Dr. Yum Project Kitchen. I am Dr. Yum Project dietitian Sarah Moran, and I'm going to be giving you a tour of the website today. So dryum.org has a ton of free tools and resources, and we know that there's a lot there. So we want to make sure that you know everything that's there. So when you're talking to people and maybe referring them to the website or recommending a tool or resource that might be helpful to them, you know what's there and you know how to figure out what's going to be most appropriate for the people that you're working with. So with all that said, let's hop into it and take a look at the website.
So here we are at dryum.org, and this is what you are going to see when you get here. Now, right here at the top, if you want to learn more about us as an organization, our team, the work we do, this more about us right here is exactly where you want to go. So that's right there at the top. But we're going to keep scrolling down and talk a little bit about the tools and the resources that are available to you. So the first one you'll see right here is Meal-o-Matic, and this is my personal favorite tool on the website. It's our free tool to help people create a recipe with the items that they have on hand in their fridge or in their pantry. So let's go to Meal-o-Matic and check it out. So when you get here, you'll see that there are 7 different meal frameworks. We call them makers, and these are the options that you have. So when you get into each one of these makers, it's going to walk you through how to create a recipe with those items that you already have. So let's go into Stir Fry Maker, and you can see how it works. So each maker breaks a recipe down into types of ingredients, and it gives you a few different options so you can pick through and select the items that you have. So for stir fry, we need oil that can do some high heat cooking. There's a few options here. I have canola oil, so I'm going to pick that. Then we have our aromatics. I have garlic and ginger and onions, so those will be my choices. For protein, I have some tofu in the fridge, so I'll pick that. As far as veggies go, I always keep carrots around, so I know I have some of those. I have some green beans that I need to use, a few mushrooms that are left over. I do have a bell pepper, and I have half of yellow squash from another recipe that I need to use, so we'll pick that. Now, moving on to our sauce, you see here that the basic sauce has soy sauce, rice vinegar, and water, but we do have some options if we want to add a little boost to our sauce. And I think I'm going to add hoisin sauce to mine. Now, for the sauce seasoning, I do like to add some pepper flakes and some cornstarch to make it thicker. And then for our Yumify ingredients, these are the toppers that we're going to add on at the end as we're serving up our stir fry. I have some sesame oil. I love that. I also have some Thai basil. I have some cashews and some sriracha. Ready for the next step? And this is where the Meal-o-Matic works its magic and takes all that information you put in about what you have on hand in your fridge or in your pantry, and it creates a custom recipe for you. And you can see here we have our ingredients list. You can switch this to a table view if you prefer that. Some people prefer the list, some people prefer the table, so it's there as an option, just depending on what makes sense to you. We have the method down here, and in the method, all of your custom items will be highlighted, so it's really easy to see when you're going to add those custom items in. And then there's also a video at the bottom of every maker that shows you an example, in this case, a stir fry, an example stir fry of someone making a stir fry, and it's sped up. So this is really helpful if someone's making a stir fry for the first time and they would like to see, how is this process going to go? What should I expect? Watching that video can be really helpful, and it's right there for you. Now, Meal-o-Matic, we talked about how it was great for, using what you have on hand, and, that helps us reduce our food waste, and it can help us save money, so that's great. But you can use it in other ways too. So maybe you decide to select your ingredients based on what's on sale at the grocery store that week, or maybe what's available at the farmer's market, what's growing in your garden, or maybe someone has some food allergies. Meal-o-Matic can be great for them because they can customize the recipe to have only the items that are going to be safe for them to eat. So there's a lot of different ways that you can use Meal-o-Matic. And, with all of these different makers, and all of the endless combinations of ingredients in each maker, it gives you so many different meals that you can make. And some of the makers even have additional options within them. So let's look at an example of that. Let's go to the curry maker. Up here on Curry Maker, you can choose between a green Thai style curry, a red Thai style curry, or an Indian style curry just by selecting these. So that's going to change your ingredients a little bit, but it just shows you that the Curry Maker has kind of 3 makers within it. So there's so many different options here on the Meal-o-Matic to make some delicious meals. Now let's go back to the home page. So that's Meal-o-Matic. And it is mobile friendly, which is also great. So it works, great on your phone, and everything operates and it's easy to use there. Let's move over to Dr. Yum's meal planner. So when we go to the meal planner, this is really helpful to figure out, how you're gonna feed yourself or your family for the week, and also get a shopping list. So as you go through recipes on dryum.org, and we're going to talk about recipes in a section in a minute in another section, so don't worry about that. But when you are looking at recipes, you can save them. And as you save them, they're going to populate here on your meal planner. So if you see things that you like and you want to use, then you'll have them here in the meal planner and you can start adding them to your meal plan. Now, when you're looking at the calendar here, you can customize it. So let's go to calendar options. And, everyone is different. Some people like to plan breakfast, lunch, snack, and dinner. Some people like to do, a different combination. For me, I just like to plan dinners. So I'm going to change these to no, and we'll just have dinner left. You can also change the first day of the week. So maybe you do your grocery shopping on a certain day, or your week of groceries kind of starts on a certain day, maybe when the farmer's market is, for example. For me, I do my meal planning with Monday as the first day of the week. So I'm going to select Monday. We'll hit done. And now we see that my calendar is just dinners and my week starts on Monday. So then I can look at my saved recipes here from dryum.org, and I can add them in. You'll see, in addition to the title, you get the prep time and the cook time for each recipe, so that can be helpful. If you're thinking about your week, which nights you have a little bit more time, maybe when you're really busy and you don't have as much time to cook, this information can be really helpful. So I'm going to pick the sticky pomegranate chicken. We'll click add to plan, and you see everything is kind of glowing here. I'm going to put that on Monday. Let's do the sesame ginger green beans with that. I'll also put those on Monday. Now, I know that both of these recipes make a lot, and maybe we'll say Wednesday, I don't really have much time to cook. So I'm going to move the leftovers by clicking that leftover button and putting those on Wednesday. Leftovers here. So if you have something and you want to use it for another dinner or maybe a lunch or a breakfast, you can do that. Let's look, maybe I'll add the shrimp and fennel bake, add to plan. I'll put that on Tuesday. We can put that there. And let's say Thursday, I'm going to be going out, so I don't need to plan for that night. I'm going to do the noodle salad with peanut dressing on Friday. Saturday, I'm also going out maybe, or, meeting up with some friends and they're going to be cooking. And then for Sunday, let's do the sausage and fennel soup. That has to cook for a little while. That seems like a good Sunday recipe for me. So, you can go through this and fill it in with whatever's going to work for you. But once you've got it filled out, then you can go to Menu Plan Shopping List. And when you click this, it's going to take everything that was there in your meal plan for that week and put it in a list that is organized by section of the grocery store. So that way then, you have this, you can print it out, or you can use this if you like to use a different type of grocery shopping system. Maybe you have, an app you like to use, or you have a certain notebook or notepad or whatever it may be. But you have all the items here organized. You can cross out anything you might have, like maybe you have black pepper and you don't need to purchase that. So there may be some things on here that you already have in your pantry, but nevertheless, you're going to have everything organized for you, so you don't have to go through each individual recipe and write down those items. You're going to have it all here organized thanks to the meal planner. And as you continue to use the meal planner and use recipes on the site, you can add more and more and more here in this saved recipe section, so you'll have more to choose from. So now let's head back to the home page and continue our way down. The next thing you'll see is Dr. Yum's Food Adventure Home Edition. This is an at-home cooking and nutrition lesson that happens every month. It's a subscription-based service, and so every month you get access to a new recipe and a video and expert tips from our expert team all around that month's lesson. And so it takes you through how to prepare this recipe with the children in your life, and it's a great way to get kids and families and caregivers in the kitchen together, cooking, learning about food, and becoming friends with food. So this is a really fun thing that families can do, and you'll find it right here on the homepage. Continuing down, we have Dr. Yum's favorite foods, and this is a section where you can learn about different ingredients and the ways that you can use them and how to store them and all kinds of fun information. So let's go to favorite foods and you can see what it looks like. So when you get here to favorite foods, you'll see all of the foods, mostly produce items, but there are some other ingredients as well on here, arranged in alphabetical order. And I think one of the best ways to use favorite foods is if there's a food that you aren't familiar with, but you want to use it more, or maybe you've had it at a restaurant, or you've had someone else prepare it, but you've never worked with it yourself, or maybe you only kind of know how to use it one way, but you're not really sure what to do. Favorite foods can help you with that and help you use some new foods or use even a familiar food in a new way. So let's click on mango just as an example. And when you go to any favorite food, you're gonna see what is the nutritional content of this food, where does it come from, how can you use it, how should you best store it, how to introduce it to a first taster, all kinds of helpful information. If there are any other resources related to that food, like for example with mango, we have a video on how to cut mango, those will be there. But then you'll also see any recipes that use that ingredient. If you're looking for some recipes, these are all the recipes on dryum.org that use mango. And also, if that food is used in one of the makers on Meal-o-Matic, you'll see that in this section as well. Now, mango is not used in any of our Meal-o-Matic makers, but for ingredients that are, you'll see that information as well right in that little section. Let's actually go back and look for one that is used in a maker. Let's go to peas. So you can see peas are in a lot of the Meal-o-Matic makers. They're in all of them actually. So you can click on one of these. If maybe you have some peas and you need to use them up, you can pick one of the makers and get there and start using it. And here are the recipes for all the different types of peas that we have on our website too. So using favorite foods can be really, really helpful to come up with ideas for how to use an ingredient, or just learn some more information, or how you can best store that food, prepare that food, all kinds of helpful info, especially if you're trying a food for the first time. Now let's make our way back to the home page and we will continue moving down. So the next section here are recipes. So recipes are what a lot of people think of when they think of dryum.org, and you can see a few example ones here, but if we want to really get into the recipes, let's go to the recipe section. Now there are a couple shortcuts here at the top. So Meal-o-Matic, favorite foods, the meal planner, because a lot of times when people are looking at recipes, they also need to access these resources as well. But we've already talked about all those. So let's make our way down the recipe page. Now you can search for recipes. So maybe if there is a Dr. Yum recipe that you've had before, or you know you want to try it, or you've made it previously, but you just need to get that recipe, you can go here into the search bar and search and find that thing. Also, you might be looking for something with a certain ingredient or something like that. So the search bar is there for you if you need to use that. We also have tags. So these are like different categories or filters that you can put on the recipes to find recipes that are going to meet your needs. So you might just want to hang out and browse and kind of see what's around, or maybe you haven't been to the recipe section in a while, you want to see what the new recipes are. That's great, but sometimes you need something specific. Maybe you just need dinner recipes, or you need school lunch ideas, or maybe you need vegan recipes. Whatever it may be, you can go in here and filter them out. Let's go to the baby food option tag. So baby food option is a tag for all of our recipes that have adaptations for new eaters. So they're going to have a little note that's going to tell you how you can adapt that food for a new eater, and it really fits into our idea that we love of one meal, one family, so the whole family's eating the same food. Here's a video of Dr. Fernando, Dr. Yum, talking about the baby food tag and giving you some more information. You can also combine the baby food tag with another tag, so maybe you need baby food option and you also want dinners. You can do that and, have a couple levels of filters going on there. But let's just look at the baby food tag on its own and look at some of these recipes. So maybe we want to look at cilantro lime lentil soup. This is a favorite in my house. We make it a lot and I love it because it's really simple and has a few ingredients that I tend to keep around, but it's also quick and easy to make. So cilantro lime lentil soup, you can add it to the meal plan here directly. You can save it, print, all that kind of stuff is up here. But if we keep working our way down the recipe, ingredients are here. Just like on Meal-o-Matic, you can switch to a table view if you prefer that. All of these hyperlinks here, these blue ingredients, these will get you over to favorite foods. So if you are looking at this recipe and you're like, you know what, I don't really know a lot about lentils, or I don't know if I want to make this soup, but I might want to make a lentil something, you could click lentils and it'll take you over to that area on favorite foods and you can get all that information that we just talked about a short while ago. So ingredients, method, the baby food option, if a recipe has it, will be down here. And then you also get your prep time, your cook time. Some recipes have cost per serving. And then we also have how many it yields. So if you want to know how much is this going to make, all that info is there. For nutrition information, if you happen to need that, we know that not everyone does, and it's certainly not the main focus of any of our recipes. We're all about the food and the flavor. But if you do need nutrition information, that is here. So you just click this and all of that nutrition information will pop down. And then you can see maybe you need to be aware of your carbohydrate intake. That's here. Or maybe you need to be aware of sodium. Whatever it may be, that nutrition information is here if you need it. And then we also have our Yum scores. So these are real ratings from real grown-ups, real kids of all ages. You'll see a different mix on every single recipe, but you can see how other people enjoyed the recipe. And this one happens to have all super yums, but sometimes it's a mix. We are definitely, not shy about putting people's real reactions on the recipes, but it gives you a little bit more information that might be helpful when you look at those Yum scores. And there are also sidebar content. So, this recipe fits a lot of the different tags. So all the videos for those tags are here. This recipe has garlic, so you see a garlic cutting video. It has onions, so you see an onion cutting video. There may be some little extra tidbits over here on the sidebar. So let's go back. And you'll also see that the recipes have these little save buttons. So it may be the case that you're just kind of scrolling through and you're like, oh, that looks good. And you might just choose to save it right there. Then it will go into your saved recipes, which feeds into the meal planner that we looked at earlier. So that's recipes. And this is the recipe home again. So if you want to filter those tags, you can do that. But let's go back to the home page and we'll keep making our way down. Next up, stories, blog posts, and toolkits. So this is where we have all of our blogs and other types of, written information that might be helpful for you. So you can see some of the highlighted ones here, but you can go to see all, and then you'll see all of our blog posts. You can, click through, see what might be helpful. You can also filter here. Toolkits are ones that have a lot of content around them, but you might want to use some of these other categories. Basically, if you're just looking for a blog on certain types of topics, you can filter out the blog posts here and find what you need. And some of the blog posts also have handouts or other types of information associated with them. So let's see. One that we can find that will be here, like Pediatrician's 10 Tips for Packing a Nutritious Lunch. If we click that, the content is here, but there are also handouts. So this might be helpful for yourself, or it might be helpful if you're working with people to have these handouts. So just know that sometimes a blog post might have a handout associated with it that can then be printed or distributed in another way. So those are there too. We'll make our way back to the home page. Next up is Dr. Yum's Baby Food Adventure. So this is a free webinar that is taught by Dr. Fernando. It's on demand, so people can watch it whenever they want, but it gives them some tips for working with a new eater. So once a baby is at that stage where they're ready to start exploring food other than breast milk or formula, then this webinar is really helpful. And it's really helpful, a little bit before we get to that point for people who are going to be feeding young kids, so they can, learn some of these things and get the ideas before they get started with the feeding part. But there's so much great information covered in this, from how to position a child in a high chair, how to introduce new foods, common questions that people have about allergies, how rapidly or slowly you should introduce new foods to a child, purees, no purees, different types of texture questions related to that people may have. So this is a great resource, and it's right here. Continuing down, a couple other areas that may be helpful for people are these handouts. So this is just kind of a one-stop shop for a lot of our handouts that can be helpful for an individual, but really can be especially helpful for an organization like that's working with individual clients, but also broader like distribution, like food distribution, for example. So a food bank or a food pantry, something like that. The handouts are here. So let's go to the handout section. You can see there is, stuff just to kind of get people on the website, but there's, also specific handouts on specific topics. So building a satisfying meal, how to do some basic cooking things that might be helpful to someone. These handouts here are kind of like Meal-o-Matic in a printed paper hard copy form, so those can be really helpful for distribution. There's lots of things here. We also have these in Spanish, so this is a great area for a lot of the resources that someone might want, particularly if they're working with groups of people and want to have these resources available to distribute them. Next up is Dr. Yum's Preschool Food Adventure. So this is our preschool food and nutrition curriculum. It is so wonderful, and we love seeing, all of the different schools that have used the curriculum and are always coming, new ones coming on board. But if you or someone are interested in learning more about the preschool curriculum, how they can bring it to their school, all that kind of stuff, this is where you would go for that. So when we click in, you'll get information about how it works and what's included, all kinds of stuff. We won't go through every single item right now because this is, kind of a whole topic in and of itself. But if you are looking for that information, that's where you can find it. We also have our video gallery, so if you're looking for video content, that's where it lives. And when you go to the video gallery, you can filter out according to category. So maybe you want to do getting started in the kitchen. You can find some recipes, or not recipes, sorry, videos related to that. And they might include some recipes in the videos. But this is a really nice way to, get plugged into some of our video content. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is the main hub for new videos and our video library. But if you want to know when new videos come out, then those are there. So this is the basic layout and walkthrough of the home page. You can see you can access a lot of things from right here on the home page, and it's great. But, once you become familiar with the website, or once someone becomes familiar with the website, they might just want to get to specific things. Like they just want to get to the recipes, and they don't need to scroll through and look at everything. The menu is here for that. So if you just want to get to recipes or Meal-o-Matic or favorite foods or get into the blogs, you can do that here, as well as for the preschool food adventure, the home edition, that's here. Classes are also here. So if you want to see what types of in-person as well as virtual classes we have going on, then you can go there. And there's some other information here. If you want to get into the meal planner, that's my stuff. That's where you'll find all of your recipes. And there is also a login. It may or may not apply to you or the people that you're working with. But for some people, there is a login, like our medical partners, people who teach the preschool curriculum. They have an area for the teachers where they can access resources, as well as for people who are subscribed to the home edition. Those things are here. And if you go here, you'll see that, for most people, login is not necessary. The My Stuff is, where stuff is saved. There's no need to log in to access that. But for teachers and families and our physician partners, those people may need to log in. So if that's you and you want to, do your login thing, you can find out more information about where you need to go to do that right here. Also up here at the top, just so you know, when you click this will bring you right back to home when you click the Dr. Yum Project logo. So if you find yourself, deep in the website and you're like, I just want to get back to the home page, that does that. And My Stuff is where you can get into the meal planner. So if you're just trying to get into your saved recipes, that's up here at the top as well.
So we hope that this has been helpful for you to learn about all the tools and resources that are available on dryum.org, and we will see you on the website soon.